REMelations. We're your hosts.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Brooke. REMelations is a dream interpretation podcast where we read listeners' dreams, from nightmares to the just plain bizarre. Join us as we give you our comedic interpretation of your fucked up REM cycle. This week, I've got a dream from Jacob about unfinished renovations and howling cats.
And my favorite, catnaps. This week we've got dreams about Prada boots in the park, stray cats, sheds of alligators, and of course, head soup.
Yum.
Getting ready for fall already. And being that it's our 150th episode, our 20,000th download, and a newly achieved Best Comedy Podcast Award, we're taking true crime with our topic this week. We're talking about one of Iowa's most famous murders, the Villisca axe murders. Stay tuned. It's deep and it's twisty. All right, Bestie, grab that Best Comedy Podcast Award, hold it high, and let's get started.
Woo! Oh, now it's, okay.
You got jammies on?
Yeah, I was going to tell you that.
You're looking good. You're looking cozy.
No, I won't even tell you what I have on.
Do you have pants on, or are we doing this pantless today?
I actually do have pants on, but they're not needed because this is actually a nightgown.
Oh, a nightgown. How old school.
No, how very old. And the reason I have it on is because I went over to my parents' house last night and we had dinner and we were just like watching a movie and all, just having fun, and I fell asleep. And
are those your mom pajamas? Your mom's pajamas?
That's what it is. It's my mom's.
Oh my God.
And I
hilarious.
wore them home this morning because I wasn't going to get redressed.
Sure.
And so they were just laying there on my bed and I'm like,
it works.
I just wore them for a couple hours last night.
They're so clean.
Well,
you look very lovely.
Literally like an old woman. It's pretty fucking comfy.
It's very apropos considering we do read dreams.
We do read dreams. That is indeed what we do.
Would you like to get started?
And I would love to. This is from Jacob, and he's from Charleston.
All right. Jakey boy. I don't know where that came from. He probably is like, I hate the nickname Jake.
Oh, God. Could you imagine? Like, he probably gets called, like my friend gets called Jake from State Farm non-stop.
Sure.
It would drive me crazy.
It would.
Okay. So as I tend to do, I pick some that are just a little different.
Of course.
It's not too long, Mindy, so let's get started. I took a nap today and still can't get my emotions to calm down. So I decided to write it out somewhere. Good job, Jacob. That's what we like.
Journaling's a good thing.
I opened my eyes to see a room from an older house. There was old, faded hardwood floors and pale blue paint on the walls.
Sounds lovely.
It sounds okay.
Not bad. Everything
looked slightly dusty, but I can hear our kids playing upstairs.
Okay.
All right. He thinks, where am I? Something moved. I cast my eyes to the center of the room. There's my wife. She's using a brush attachment on a drill to clean what looks like years of dust and grime off an old table.
Well, that's very efficient.
That's very ambitious.
One way to do it. Who needs pledge when you have a drill bit? No drill.
Or why don't you
just
head. Throw it away and buy a new one?
Or the whole house?
Yeah, the whole house. You just tear down.
Yeah.
It's a fixer-upper. Something feels off in my chest, like my heart is heavy. She's super focused on what she's doing and biting the top of her tongue. I don't want to disturb her, so I look around.
Don't disturb a woman cleaning, Jacob. I mean, duh. That's husband rule number one. Either she's pissed at you, she's pissed cleaning, or it's just cleaning day.
Could you imagine? I feel like using a power tool to clean is pissed
off cleaning. That's like the most efficient kind of cleaning. And just speaking from a personal experience, the house never looks more fantastic than when I'm a little bit ticked off at my husband.
Oh man, let's get in a fight so you can come clean my house.
It doesn't work that way, Brooke. It doesn't work that way.
Damn it. So everything in the house looks like half-finished renovations. I look in the room next to me and see half-installed kitchen counters. Down below the counters is a small hole in the floor. Why haven't I fixed that? Why are all these projects not finished? My chest starts to get heavier as I hyper-focus on the hole in the floor. I hear a curse and I turn around.
Like a curse, like a curse word, or like a
I think a curse
curse
word. I'm guessing a curse word. I hear a curse.
God damn it.
God fucking damn it. Oops, sorry. Let's see what happened. I hear a curse and turn around. The table is upside down now. She's gone, and there is another small hole in the floor. The hole is about the same size as a table leg.
That's not big enough for her to fall into unless she's a very thin woman.
Well, we don't really know what happens at this point. Let's just
I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned at this point.
I call out, Naomi! Naomi!
Oh, no.
She doesn't respond, and my chest feels so heavy, it's starting to get hard to breathe. Naomi! I call out again. There, I saw a light flash in the small hole. I look through and see a flashlight. She must be in the basement.
She's like, fuck, I gotta go down and get the other attachment to the grill to do the vacuuming.
Damn it.
Fuck, that was the curse word he heard.
It was. She's like, fuck, there's so much more to do. Everything's half finished, that goddamn husband of mine.
Damn it, why don't you change the litter box? Jake?
Jakey? Let's see. I'm calling out her name, anxiety building in my chest as she's not answering. I look down the stairs. There she is. My heart calms a little as I see her carrying one of the kids' decorative pillows up the stairs with a small smile, like she's found a treasure.
Okay.
Naomi, I call, but she still doesn't answer. Why isn't she answering? I start following her to the next floor, calling her name and more frantically as she's not answering. This part's funny, Mindy, that you mentioned the litter box.
Okay.
So, which of course you always somehow tap in. Everything is starting to get heavier. We turn the corner and I see two of our cats.
Oh, interesting.
When they see me turn the corner, they yowl and run away. Why?
Because they didn't have a clean litter box, Jake. Duh.
Jake, you were told to clean the
signs are there. You just got to open your eyes.
The cats haven't ever been afraid of me. The world freezes as I realize she can't see me, but they can.
Ooh.
Why are they so afraid? I suddenly feel like I'm not supposed to be here, and my heart sinks into my gut. I'm dead. And then I woke up.
Don't like that twist. Oh, okay. You're forgiven from chores if you're dead, I suppose.
I guess. I mean, it does take a lot of power as a ghost to move something. You know, you really got to learn how to do it.
Yeah, it takes lots of practice. Oh, no, that's awful.
I thought it was an interesting twist. I mean, as soon as I heard the cat part, I kind of figured it out.
Honed it, yeah.
But still, it was a good one.
It's kind of giving me Beetlejuice vibes, though, because it's kind of the idea of living in the same space. You can see them; they can't see you. Cats can, like the animals can.
Yeah, the animals. Yeah.
Have you seen the new movie?
I was just going to ask you: have you seen Beetlejuice?
No, but I plan to.
I might go on Sunday. That's kind of what I want to do.
Okay. Well, I feel like we have a hashtag because it's kind of on theme here.
Okay. Hashtag.
Who we going?
What? Michael Keaton, right?
Oh, I was Michael Keaton or Jenny Ortega. So.
Oh.
We'll go Michael Keaton. You gotta go the OG. Okay.
OG. Okay.
Hashtag. What does Michael
Keaton dream?
Oh,
also, speaking of Mr. Keaton, they're also like reshowing the 1989 like Batman, Michael Keaton Batman in the theater.
So they're doing like a double feature?
No. It's just like one theater kind of plays an older movie.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then there's also I think like the 25th anniversary of The Matrix or something. You know, like sometimes like just these ones come out, but. No, two totally separate things, so I have to decide which one.
Yes. Okay, well, Mr. Keaton, we need to know a little bit more about your dream life.
Please.
Do you dream of those goddamn sand monsters? Because I swear to God, in that original movie,
That scared
as a
the
child,
shit out of me.
I was so afraid of those sand monsters.
When the front door would open, I'd be like, "Oh, don't go outside.
The sand monsters are gonna eat you. They look terrifying.
Oh
man, but I would love to know.
But no, I'm really excited. Yes, please,
I heard it's great.
Let us know. Yeah,
Let us know.
I've heard it's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe Jacob needs Beetlejuice's guidance here in the afterlife.
Let's not say it too many times.
Okay. Great. Nope.
We don't need him.
Should I say Zozo?
Messing around with our podcast.
Would you rather I say
me? No, Mindy. Don't you say ZZ?
Okay. Well, all of a sudden a sand monster comes up behind you and just podcast over.
Can we do a graphic for our Patreon for I'm sleepover squad?
Yeah, let me just whip that up.
Yeah, I think it'll be easy.
Yeah, sure.
It shouldn't be too bad. Hey, Mindy, before I get into my analysis of this dream, I just want to remind our besties out there that besides submitting your dreams, there's a lot of ways to support the show. You can join our Patreon, which is our sleepover squad.
Yes.
And you can do that by going to REMelations.com/support.
You know, Brooke, we were just at the Iowa Podcast Awards and we did a little thing called a live show. And we're going to post that on our Patreon, on our sleepover squad for our sleepover squad besties to see. So if you want to see a live performance, a recent live performance, you're going to want to check it out by, like Brooke said, going to REMelations.com/support and join the Thumber Party.
And by the way, that was an awesome live show. Like, I mean, the setup.
Hilarious. Oh, it was so good.
It was so cool. It was like real microphones.
I know.
And
I felt so official.
Like fancy chairs, not like
my
behind
mom
the table.
Afterwards, did you hear? She's like, those chairs match the chairs on your cover art. I'm like, how?
Oh my God.
They're the same teal. Like, what are the chances?
I did not even hear her say that. And now it's like, blowing my mind.
It did. It was meant to be.
It was. Okay, let me jump into my analysis. So the house is kind of like a teardown, which I kind of said. I mean, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, it can be fixed. But
it's like every house I grew up in as a kid, it was half under construction because my dad was that type of guy. Yeah,
he'd start something and just never got finished.
Yeah, there was a lot of projects. By the time you finished one, you had to start with the first room again.
Yeah, I get it. You know, the walls, the floors, the paint colors, everything was all stressing him out, like crushing down on his chest, you know, like there was the faded floors, the peeling blue paint, the years of dust and grime,
disrepair,
the half-finished renovations. Jacob, I think your life maybe needs a serious overhaul. That's just what I'm thinking.
A little spring cleaning.
Yeah, maybe a little zhuzh. You know, let's clean it up.
Shake it up a bit. Grab that drum.
That old house, like, and that it's decrepit, you know, I feel like is the warning for him. You know, it seems you've stopped growing because you're doing the same things over and over again. And I think he needs to use his creativity to forge a new path. Those rotten floorboards, particularly vivid symbol of the unstable foundation of your life. Yeah. It's just all coming down around you, Jacob.
Right. Well, it's like if you really draw the lines between, you know, your health, your life, your body, and a house. I mean, if you don't do the upkeep, it quickly kind of
deteriorates.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, what is he's not paying attention to something. He's letting something going on a little too long.
Then he mentioned several times, something doesn't feel right. He's got that heavy heart. And that's getting progressively worse throughout the dream. And so I feel like that was just building the anticipation. And I the first time I read it, I started kind of feeling that.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like, ooh, like, yeah. And especially since he said this one stuck with him, you know, so much when he woke up, like, it just made me kind of start to feel that. So,
sure.
But his wife disappears. So I feel like he has also some maybe fear or safety issues. And the state of the house and disrepair, it's like he has so many things maybe he's in denial of, but starting to understand, like starting to get a
Mhm.
glimpse, like you said, you got to just kind of do it or
Yeah,
it's
and
not
maybe
gonna,
it is a relationship thing. Maybe it's not, but
it could
like,
be.
like anything, a relationship you also have to nurture. Otherwise, it kind of falls into a constant, just like an everyday blah. You know what I mean? Like you still have
Yeah,
to
it is. And
you have
then
to
it
put a little
builds and it
cleaning into
builds
it.
and it gets overwhelming. And then it's like, it's
But
about to
he was
explode.
concerned about his wife, which I found endearing. Is he was
Yeah, he
really
was
worried about
legit.
where she was.
Well, and he was also like polite, like he could see she was really working on it and he didn't want to bother her,
Mhm.
he's just gonna like he just seems like he's a considerate person, but maybe, sometimes nice people get walked on or taken advantage of, and maybe something's been brewing and he's just
Mhm.
about it's just crumbling down or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So he sees that light from the basement,
Mm.
that famous light, but to him that was kind of like, yay, I
Things are
see
okay.
things are okay. And she's coming up the stairs with her kid's
That's
pillow.
so
And
interesting,
it
right?
is like
Why?
he mentions that, she's happy, like it's a treasure. And I'm
Hmm.
just wondering, since we now know how the dream has ended, does this pillow remind her of what a great father he had been, or how he had loved his kids and he tried to take care of everything around the house, and it made her both happy for the memories but sad for a loss, I think.
Sure.
I mean, it's just a memento. And
Sorry, hold on. Kingston's making sure no one's breaking into my house right now.
oh, that's nice. Are
Like
you
I heard him.
alone?
Yeah, I'm home alone. Mark's at
He's
the
at the
football
game.
Yeah. And he just barked and got all huffy for a second, but I think we're good. Okay. Like,
I
he
hope
shouldn't be
there's
home
no
yet.
one coming in the house.
No. I mean, well, I'll keep recording.
Okay.
Just
Ooh,
in case
then
you
at
find my
least,
murderer.
then I'm going to have a 3-part true crime podcast.
When the podcaster
The murder
dies.
of my best friend.
Oh, thanks.
We'll have to come up
That's
with a good
title.
dateline.
No. Yeah.
No,
It's gonna
I
be
don't
like
it.
murder on air or something. It's always like,
Oh, yes. Murder on the airwaves.
yes. When true crime turns true crime.
Yep.
Keith Morrison, of course.
What's true crime?
Only way. The only way I'm dying is if he's doing it, man. I think we had this conversation already.
I think we've had it multiple times.
It's got to be Keith Morrison.
Keith Morrison better be involved somehow.
100%.
Oh my God. Have we ever done Keith Morrison?
Yes, long time. He was one of the first hashtags.
We've been talking about him from the jump. Okay.
Yep.
So then the cats are involved. They're yowling and they're running away. And, this is what I was saying, kind of, we all know animals and kids can stuff that we don't, because they're still sensitive and more open. That's just kind of a known thing. So maybe we saw what was coming, but the dreamer didn't. And that's what made the dream so intense. Like,
I didn't see it till the end. You did. I was surprised. I was like, wait a minute.
Good. Then it was a good twist.
Yeah.
But, he didn't. And that's why the dream kind of hit me, because it's like, could you imagine how terrifying that was for him during the dream? And then after he woke up and that, like he said, it did bother him so much.
Yeah.
But totally get it, Jacob. Totally get it.
No one likes to dream they're dead. I think that's pretty high up there with spiders, snakes, murderers. Death.
It's not good.
Yeah, not great. Not a great way to spend a Friday night. Neither is cleaning.
Yeah, I don't want that either. No. But thank you, Jacob, so much.
Thanks, Jacob. All right, Bestie, it's time for our question of the week. This is where we just learn a little bit about each other, even though we've been friends forever.
But we're still surprising each
other. And we want to know what you say. So here's our question of the week. Would you rather travel anywhere you wanted for the rest of your life for free?
Oh, fuck.
Or buy your dream house for free?
Oh, Mindy.
I'm so interested to see your answer on this because I know you love traveling.
I do love traveling.
But you also like staying home.
I also want, what kind, can I ask? It said my dream home?
It said your dream home.
I can dream big.
Yeah, it's going to be a fabulous pad.
I feel like my heart wants to say travel, but my head is saying home. Okay. Well, here's where you get me. I've got an answer.
Okay.
And I think it's because I've been watching like seasons and seasons of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I want one of those houses.
You got the pool, you got the outdoor kitchen, you got the theater. Yes. Does it come with like, people to help, like, cooks?
Of course. That's part of my dream home.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have it in LA, but
no.
I want a house like that near water.
Okay.
And that's like you have safety. That's your house. You're protected for the rest of your life. You have a place to live.
I know, but I'm like, I love the idea of traveling because I haven't gotten to travel too much in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can always travel home and stay at a hotel. And if it's paid for, I'm picking the Ritz, I'm picking the penthouse of the Ritz. But then again, you have to like pack up every so often, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
what if you moved into like the Beverly Hills Hotel and just lived there and you had maids to clean for you?
I'm wondering if we got like a time limit on the travel. I mean, maybe it's a 2-week thing. Like every 2 weeks you have to leave, and then that's too much.
Don't start digging into if there's a time limit.
I'm going with Dream House because I'd rather have something like you said. I'm going to build a huge mansion on Lake Michigan and overlooking the lake and acres and pools. Maybe
plural
pools, yes, of course. But then I also an indoor pool for when it gets cold in the winter. Yeah,
well, my house isn't going to be anywhere that's cold.
No, I know. But see, I do like Chicago, so it'd be hard for me. And my family's still close.
That's true.
I'm gonna have to stay in the Midwest, I think. But
yeah, well, at least you've got your indoor pool plans, so you've got it all
and
worked
a hot
out.
Tub. Lots of hot tubs. Love myself a hot tub. Bestie, if you want to let us know what you think and what you're picking, you can always join the conversation in our Facebook group. All you have to do is search for REMelations Besties and join our group, join the conversation. Every week we put the poll out so we can learn a little bit about you.
Fun times. So now it's time for catnaps, and this is when we read through our listeners' dreams kind of quickly, or their shorter dreams, or maybe just a dream story. Just a thought on a dream. We go through just as many of you guys as we can to get you on our show because it is so much fun. Mindy, do you have a catnap for us?
I do. And this is Charmaine, and she's from Boston.
Okay.
Boston. Charmaine says, a few nights ago, I had a dream I was in New York City, sitting on a park bench.
Mm-hmm.
Great. This dude next to me gets up and leaves. But he leaves these awesome, flawless, gold chain link Prada boots.
Fuck yeah. Do you go after him or do you take the boots and go the other way?
I think that tells a lot about a person, Brooke.
Well, what if you don't know the guy and he's gone? Like what are you supposed to do?
I mean, do you notice if you notice right away? Do you
like if he I would say I would be honest if I saw him right away and said, "Sir, you left this here."
You left your bag.
But like, what if I had been like reading or on my phone or something, and I didn't realize it, and then I was like,
"Free boots."
Shit, where'd that guy go? I might even wait around for a minute just to see if he realizes and comes back. Honestly, I'd be too scared to steal anything. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm too scared. But I like the idea of the shoes, though.
Well, Charmaine says, I tried them on, and they fit perfectly.
Oh, then it was meant to be.
They were perfect. Seemingly brand new. But I was racked with guilt knowing I took shoes that weren't mine.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Even though they had been left. I had stuff to do, so I removed the boots and put them in my bag. So she did take them.
Wow, but she put them in her bag. It was like she wasn't wearing them.
Walk around those Prada boots.
Well, he wasn't he?
I took it as like he bought them new.
Bought
and
them
they were in a
and
bag.
they were like,
a Prada
okay,
bag.
got it.
I ended up seeing the guy again. He began talking about he regretted leaving the shoes behind, but it was because of his forgetfulness. The
He
forgetfulness.
doesn't deserve those shoes.
The forgetfulness that had been messing with him his whole life. And he
Oh.
should just stay away from New York altogether.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
Don't buy expensive things if you can't keep track of them.
Mm-mm. I wonder how many shoes he's lost in his life or other things.
He's like, I had a pair of Jimmy Choos. I had the Prada. I had the Gucci. I left them all on park benches.
He's like, I had like one of those closets that looks like a boutique store. It's so fancy.
It's in our dream home. It
is in our
it's
two
fucking big.
closets. But, he lost everything, so his closet's empty.
She says, I told him I had something to give him, and I began to reach for the shoes in my bag. He immediately became afraid and suspicious of me and ran away, leaving me with the boots forever. And then I woke up.
Happy ending.
It is a great ending. She tried. She tried to return them. I mean, that's
She
kind of the
did.
best of both worlds.
That is. Wow. Okay, I like that. Let's see here. Okay, this is Kit, and she's from West Hollywood.
I love the name Kit. Love it. I'm just letting you know.
Isn't it? Kit.
It's so cute.
Wow, you got so excited.
I know.
there.
It's like a 1930s. Love it. It reminds me of American Girl doll. Yeah, I'm all about it.
Okay. So did your girls have American Girls?
Oh, yeah. We went to the store and had a luncheon with the dolls and everything. Yeah,
and
it was great.
tea, don't they have little tea?
We did for the twins' 8th birthday.
Oh, I remember that one.
We went downtown. They got new dolls. We had luncheon at the little cafe with the dolls that had their own little place settings.
It's so amazing.
Fun. It's cute. I'll post a picture. They were so little and cute.
Too. My boyfriend asked me to send this in because he always has a recurring dream, and no matter what he's dreaming of, it always transitions somehow into feeding cats.
Oh, a cat theme tonight.
I know. What's the deal? I like it.
Of course you do.
Sometimes these dreams feature our cat, but the majority of the time they are strays. He says that some of these dream cats are horribly injured.
Oh.
What could that mean? Thanks in advance for any answers or insight. I know that's a weird one for me to share, but it did get me going why? Why is he feeding these cats? I mean, I understand if they're strays, they might be injured, that makes sense, but why?
Maybe it's just a testament to his person, or cats often represent female figures in life. So is he just a kind of a caretaker to people or particularly
sounds like he's just got
women?
A good heart.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Hey, Kit, are you and your man still together? Because if not...
Brooke needs a man who loves cats.
Yes, please.
Well, this one's a little disturbing. This is Anne from Escalante, Utah.
Okay.
I think it sounds fancier, Escalante. I'm not sure how
Escalante. Have you ever been to Escalante?
No, but I heard
in the fall.
In the fall,
lovely.
yes. Yeah, I love skiing there. I had a dream that there was a shed behind my house. I find myself sitting in the shed alone on the floor.
Oh.
I have a tablet in my hands, and I am watching a movie on it.
Okay.
Above me, there were 15 dead alligators hung on hooks by their tails.
What?
You know those alligators in Utah. They're just
and those shed alligators. Yeah, you just throw them in your shed.
Yeah. Well, how do you think they make the Prada boots?
Oh no!
I'm sorry, Brooke. I'm taking it back. Taking it back. Taking it back.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's not real animals. Not real alligators. Okay. Moving on. As I am watching the movie, I take them down, and one by one.
Wait a minute. How big are these alligators?
Maybe they're baby alligators.
Oh, this is even sadder.
Well,
okay.
It's not getting better. One by one, I take them down, dismember them with my hands, and eat them piece by piece until there's only 2 alligators left.
Oh, so 13's the number?
That's when you get full. 13. Oh. I don't even know. I've heard of gator bites, but is that really gator?
Yeah, it is. I've had them in New
Oh.
Orleans.
You
Yeah.
okay. Hold on. Back up the truck because you seem so angry at this dream. And here you are eating alligators.
Okay, I eat meat, Mindy. I like animals, but I still eat meat.
So you can't come at Anne. She had 13. She's a little bloated
That's
after
a
that.
lot of. I had alligator bites, like 3 little nuggets. I did not eat 13 alligators that I tore apart with my hands.
No. She says, afterwards, I had an immediate feeling of regret. Realizing I'd just eaten 13 raw, rotting alligators.
Oh, why did you do it in the first place?
I exit the shed and go into the house where I find my brother and voice to him my concerns about my alligator eating binge.
Yeah. This is one time where I feel like maybe you should purge. Like maybe it's allowed.
Yeah. Rotten alligator meat, probably not the best for a night
Maybe try
snack.
to get it out as fast as possible.
Sell the skins to Prada, though. I'm just kidding. I don't know if Prada uses actual animal products. I'm just saying. They're probably.
It's a joke, not. Mindy. Yes. I get it.
I'm just saying. Don't come at me. Don't at me, Prada. Send me some free boots. I love your stuff.
Wink.
All right. Should we do one more each?
Yeah. This is Josh, and he's from Savannah,
Iowa or Georgia? There's probably more than one.
There probably is. I do not know.
Okay, but it's lovely.
I had a strange dream in which I was a doctor in some station. It just says station. I would see patients with abnormal abilities, like superhuman abilities. Okay. I walked into the room to check on one patient and spoke with him. Some small talk, eventually leading to his day and how he was feeling. He told me, the other kids don't like me here. Oh. They told me I wasn't special. Oh. I responded, well, what's your ability? He then places his hand on my shoulder and tells me loads of information about how I injured my shoulders. I looked at him, remained silent. He took a deep breath and asked, does your shoulder still hurt? I was still in shock by his ability and stammered, no.
Okay, so the patient becomes the doctor?
I guess. It's the special ability place.
Okay. It's like the hospital for all the Marvel characters.
Right?
In DC.
There has to be someone to help them, right?
Course, right.
I walked out of his room and I was able to move my shoulders again. Somebody then bumps into me and my alarm is going off for work. Oh. That always happens.
Yeah.
I get out of bed a bit groggy and start moving my shoulders, and they actually don't feel sore anymore. Obviously, this feels like a placebo effect, but it's insane how your mind can trick the body into not feeling the ache sensation.
Oh, I do like that dream.
I like that.
I like that.
We kind of talked about it, how everything is really connected. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
Wow. I liked that. Cool. To wrap up the catnap section of today, I have one more, and this is Shay from Milwaukee.
Okay.
In my dream, I was making soup. The soup actually sounded delicious, but it required a severed head.
Ooh, from what? A human?
For some reason, I was able to use Einstein's perfectly preserved head.
Well, aren't you lucky? That's like
how'd
the best
you get your hands on
chef's
that?
pantry ever.
I spent the whole time waiting for the soup to cook, trying to convince myself that it wasn't gross, and that I could just pretend there was no head in the soup and just eat it. Because the soup looked so delicious. You know how you stir soup and you just kind of bring up the ingredients? It's like, no, it's great until you see an ear.
It's like Temple of Doom with the eyeball soup. I don't know if have you ever seen an Indiana Jones movie?
Huge fan, of course. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know because there are a lot of things that
it was like a formative movie for my dad and I growing up. Yes, I love that one.
Okay, good. Well, you know the eyeball soup then. It's that whole dinner scene. Snake surprise, chilled monkey brains.
Delish.
I'll never forget that movie.
Einstein's brain soup.
Einstein soup.
And then Shay just wraps up with, but the ick factor just wouldn't let me get past it. And I gagged every time I thought of trying a taste.
What a waste of Einstein's head. I'm sorry.
Right, can we...
You make the damn soup from his head and then you gag on it.
Don't even eat it? Like, couldn't you think
terrible.
Like maybe it's like you could like come up with like formulas and stuff in your brain? You're like, E equals MC squared. This is delicious.
Yeah. Like, are you absorbing his intelligence through the soup?
It's all matter, Brooke. It's all matter. Dark matter, brain matter, gray matter.
Everything matters. Everyone matters.
Bestie, I don't know about you, but that made me a little bit hungry for soup, but not brain soup. And if it makes you hungry for more episodes of this amazing podcast, you can tell a friend about the show. You can tell a complete stranger. Or you can tell your favorite worker at Panera. Just ladle some brains in there for me. It's going to be delish. Thank you. And listen to the podcast.
Delish. This is a good episode.
I didn't eat dinner.
Got a lot of good recipes this episode.
All right, Brooke, I've got a topic for you. And the reason I chose this topic is for a couple reasons. Okay. But let's just start by saying this is our 150th episode of this podcast.
Oh my God. Yay.
150 episodes, darling.
I love you so much.
I love you too. And we are just coming off of a podcast win, which we will get to more later. You may or not know that we did win an award at the Iowa Podcast Awards. And
I can't even stand it.
Just a trifecta of everything. I was looking at our stats today, and I'm going to show you here. This is our all-time downloads. I'm going to see if you can see it. Nice even number.
20,000?
We've had 20,000 downloads today as we record our 150th episode, and I just feel like we should celebrate.
Yeah.
By talking about murder.
Yay! I'm so excited.
But not just any murder, Brooke. A murder you and I have talked about a few times. I'm going to cover one of the most notorious cold cases in the U.S., and particularly our home state of Iowa.
Oh my God. I think I know what it is.
Okay,
does it start with a V?
Yeah. Okay. This crime initiated 10 years of investigation, repeated grand jury hearings, a murder trial, and even a slander suit. But not only that, by 112 years after this horrific murder, we still only have suspects. And you're right, Brooke. What are we talking about?
The Villisca Axe Murder House.
Yes, we are.
Oh, this place is fascinating.
I know. And this is going to be a two-parter. I know it is because I thought I knew this because today going into like writing my topic, I was like, okay, I'm going to do something I know. It's going to be, it's not going to take me very long to do. Oh, no. I just dug deeper and deeper and deeper. And so it's going to be a two-parter.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, hopefully there's a few things in here that you might not know.
Okay. I'm excited.
Okay. So we're talking about the Villisca Axe murders. So if you don't know, Villisca is a town in Iowa. Oh, and by the way, if you're from the town of Villisca or you're on their government or mayor, your website's down, so you might want to look into that. Like the whole city website is like offline today. It just says account. It says good. Account suspended. You might want to pay that bill, mayor. So I couldn't get any resource from that, but I did get plenty of other ones, which will be listed in the show notes. So Villisca is a small town in the southwest corner of Iowa. It's nestled between two rivers and located on a rolling hill farmland. It was an area that was first settled in 1858 with 2 stores and a handful of homes. The area was selected as a depot / station spot for the Chicago-Burlington-Quincy Railroad line. And so people began to flock there because as soon as they decided to put, a railroad depot, that is the it town of the area.
But that also brings a lot of weirdos on the train.
Yes, it can. It was rumored that it was a railroad employee that named the town of Villisca. I always say it wrong.
Did I? I must have said it. I think I said it wrong.
Villisca.
We know what we're talking about.
It was said that a railroad. Well, It was rumored that a railroad employee named the town of Villisca, believing the word came from indigenous people of the area, meaning a pretty place or a lovely view. Since then, historians believe that he may have been mistaken, and there was another local native word called Villisca, which meant evil place.
Ooh, interesting.
Which feeds into the lore of this town.
Okay.
So the town itself is small. Like if you look at the actual town area, it's only 1.9 square miles.
Shit.
It's
Okay.
Tiny.
Teeny tiny.
The population today, well, at the latest census in 2020, was 1,132.
Wow.
But in the time of our story, back in the 1910 census, it was a whopping 2,039.
Wow, it was bigger then.
It was double the size back in 1910.
Usually it doesn't go that way.
Small towns, the railroad doesn't go through as much. It just goes away. And in 1912, Iowa Touring Atlas, it proclaimed Villisca as one of the finest towns in the state. A perfectly picturesque small town populated with lovely Victorian homes on tree-lined streets.
It sounds lovely.
Sounds lovely. Is that where you're going to build your mansion, Brooke?
No,
No?
I told you
No.
I'm going to the beach somewhere. I'm sorry.
Somewhere not in Iowa.
Well, and I forgot to mention that part of my dream home is a private plane. So,
of course. I forgot that was an option.
I forgot that part. So
yeah, makes
I
sense.
can come home whenever I need to.
Sure, you bend those rules however you need to. One of those homes on the picturesque streets of Villisca was located on lot 310. The home was built in 1868 by a resident named George Loomis, prominent business owner.
Mindy, I didn't realize that. How did I miss that? Michael Myers' doctor in the Halloween series is Dr. Loomis.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
Okay.
It was a 1,200 square foot home. It was 2 stories, a 2-bedroom house. It had a parlor, a downstairs sewing room, a kitchen, and a cellar, as well as an outhouse because, it was early 1900s.
Hey, it's better than
late
just a hole.
Yeah, a little better. The home was eventually sold to Josiah J.B. Moore and the Moore family in 1903. And that's where our story begins.
Yeah.
A little bit about the Moore family, a little bit of background. So his name is Josiah. I'm going to call him JB because that's what it was printed in the papers as. JB was born in 1878. He was part of a large family who mostly lived in the town of Villisca. His parents lived there, and 6 of his 8 siblings also lived in town.
Okay.
The family was well known and loved in the community. On December 6th of 1899, JB, at 21, marries Sarah Montgomery at the home of her parents.
Aww.
So her parents had moved to Villisca from Illinois. There was kind of like a newer family there, but definitely made an impression on JB, and the two fell in love.
Aww.
It was around that same time in 1899, JB began working for Frank Jones, the owner of an implement store. Brooke, do you know what an implement store is?
I don't know if I want to know what an implement store is. What is it?
It's a store I had to look it up. I didn't know. It's a store that sells
implements,
sells implements and services, farm equipment, and related products.
Oh,
so you might think of like a farm and fleet these days.
There we go, farm and fleet,
but with tractors. So Frank Jones was a well-known, influential businessman in town, and he was also an Iowa state senator. So he was it was a big deal, and it was a big deal for JB to get this job and work under him for many years. JB and Sarah started their family. So firstborn was Herman in 1901. Hermy. Mary Catherine, of course, was born in 1902. And by this time, 2 kids are like, we need a house. We need somewhere to live. So that's when they bought the house, was 1903. After that, they continued to grow their family when Arthur was born in 1905 and Paul was born in 1907.
They weren't wasting any time. Bam, 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 bam.
You don't have that birth control back in the 1900s. I mean, when you do it, you have a baby. That's how it works.
You do it.
A year after Paul was born, JB had worked under Frank for 9 years, and he decided it was time to start up his own business. Like he was like, almost like an intern for a while, and decided he knew enough about the business he wanted to start his own.
Cool.
So in 1908, JB set up his own egg store across the street, which some people were like, that's kind of not cool. But then again, it's only like a mile and a half. So where else are you going to go?
I know, but that just doesn't seem like smart business though either.
Right. Well,
it's like two gas stations across the street from each other.
You said 1 cent less, 1 cent less. And then a free window clean. You get a free tractor and you buy a tractor, you get a free bag of peanuts or something like that. I'm sure was the deal. JB was a great businessman. He even secured a franchise of the booming John Deere company.
Nice.
So he kind of got this new contract. He was selling John Deere equipment. And some say it made his old boss Frank mad, but we'll get more into that later. Okay. So life was good for Josiah and Sarah. There was an article I found that said Joe, which is what Sarah's father called Josiah, Joe, and their 4 children used to go out to visit them regularly, at least once a month on Sunday afternoons.
Oh,
and according to Sarah's father, Mr. Montgomery, he said, Joe and Sarah always seemed affectionate to one another. If there was any problem, they kept it undercover. Mr. Montgomery also said he liked his son-in-law and they got along just fine. The Montgomerys were very proud of their daughter, Sarah, and her family.
Oh.
He said that Sarah was in good health and she did her own housework and washing. And quote, she was a very neat housekeeper and she kept their children tidy.
Oh, tidy.
Which is such a sign of the times, right? Like,
right?
What a compliment. I keep my kids tidy. Like, if someone said that to me today, I'd be like, thanks?
Yeah. Fuck
okay.
you. Like,
I'm a good housekeeper? Like, I use that drill to get the cobwebs? I don't know. Mr. Montgomery also said that Sarah saw to it that the children went to Sunday school every Sunday morning. Quote, that's why they never came to our place Sunday before noon. Sarah and Joe always seemed happy and cheerful when they were around, just as cheerful as any people could be.
Oh, they sound so perfect.
Until the early morning of June 11th. But I want to read this headline from a newspaper on June 13th. So this was a couple days after the incident. This was the Villisca Review front page headline. It read, 8 people murdered in their beds in Villisca. Family of J.B. Moore, numbering 6, and 2 daughters of Mr. and Mrs. J.T. Stillinger, the victims. Motive for crime lacking. And I'll tell you what, Brooke, the motive is still lacking today. So the story was so huge that it knocked the sinking of the Titanic off the front page.
What?
So the Titanic sank in April of 2012.
Wow, it did?
The sinking of the Titanic happened April 15th of 1912, and this was June. So it was in the headlines for 2 months until this happened, and it kind of just took over newspapers across the country. Okay, so let's start a couple days before this article was printed. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of what happened. And I mean, it's gritty. I'm sorry. And content warnings galore.
Yeah, it just has to be set up ahead because, I know it happened, so I know it's bad.
Yeah. I know. On June 9th, 1912, it's a Sunday, the Moore family is getting ready to make their way to the newly constructed Presbyterian church, where their 4 children were participating in a Children's Day program. So at the end of the year, it's like a Sunday school program, and at the end of the year, they do these little skits, they have songs, they recite Bible verses, and the mom, Sarah, was a co-director of this. So that was the plan. They were going to head to church and go to this little program.
Oh.
Now that day, Mary Catherine, who is 10, she had 2 of her friends over, the Stillinger sisters.
Oh, no.
Ina May, 8, and Lena, 12. So Mary Catherine is the only girl in this family. She's got 3 brothers. So I'm sure she was just elated to have 2 girlfriends over.
Yeah.
Yes. And so Ina May and Lena were the daughters of a wealthy family who lived on a large farm about 7 miles out of town. And before they left for the church for this program, about 6:00 p.m., the father, J.B., made a phone call to the Stillingers' house, asking to speak to the parents. But instead of speaking to the parents who were outdoors at the time, he spoke to their oldest daughter, Blanche, who answered the phone. And J.B. asked if Ina and Lena could spend the night. Originally, the plan was for these girls to walk to their grandmother's after the program, but they didn't want to walk in the dark afterwards. Can you imagine? Like, please, Dad, just can they spend the night? Like, just the sweetest. Like, I just want to be with my friends. I have
Everyone
all these brothers.
Was probably just so excited. You know,
I know, it was a big
even
deal.
the boys were probably excited to tease the girls. You know, everyone was probably just thrilled with this.
There's a buzz. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So the family and the Stillinger sisters went to the church where they performed their little recitals. And the event ended with a social mingling at the end. You know, because like, what else do you have to do on a Sunday night when there's no TV or phones or anything? Like,
yeah,
just gonna
mingle.
You mingle. You mingle at the church. The event ended about 9:30, and the family and the girls set off for home. It was a cloudy, damp, cool evening, and the family and kids walked home, which was only about 3 blocks from the church. It was pretty close. Arriving home around 9:45, everyone tucked in for the evening. And there are reports that they had some milk and cookies before bed. It's not for certain if it happened, but in my mind, I like thinking it was like that wholesome. Like, just having some milk and cookies. I mean,
it was a treat. Like, they were having a slumber party. Don't you think they were? I mean, they were well off. I mean, he had a great job, it seemed like, or had started something, you know. So I'm sure they could throw in some milk and cookies for the girls, even the boys.
Yeah, they get some too. It was just like everyone got tucked in at night, and that was kind of their evening. Now, I want to give you a little bit of layout of the house.
Okay.
So like I said, the house is 2 stories. JB and Sarah slept in the upstairs in 1 bedroom, and Catherine spent the night in the 2nd bedroom with her brother. So all 4 children, one room. And then the Stillinger girls slept in a twin bed in the sewing room. And the sewing room was kind of downstairs off like the kitchen parlor area. Okay. That's where they were. Oh, this is the hard part. Okay. Sometime after midnight, it's suspected that a killer or killers took an axe from the backyard coal shed and entered the house, killing all 8 occupants.
That's hard to do with an axe and not wake up people.
This is what I'm going to get into that, like what Mindy thinks of this.
Okay, that's part 2. That's part 2.
No, it's still in part 1. It's still part 1. But I do have some interesting questions.
I love this.
So on the morning of June 10th, 1912, it's a Monday, we have neighbor Mary Peckham. Now, Mary's an elderly neighbor who woke up according to one report or her own testimony, woke up at 5 a.m. to hang laundry.
Well, if she's an older gal, they wake up a little earlier.
You know, you sometimes can't sleep. You just got to get those drawers on the line.
Got to get them dry for the day.
You know it. She said the sun came up at 6, and she began to become concerned that she didn't see the normal bustling household next door, the Moore's household, where people would have been awake doing chores and the kids had school. So she was, that's interesting. They're not up yet. By 7 o'clock, she was increasingly concerned. The horses, she noticed, were restless, and she noticed that the chickens had not been let out and the animals had not been fed. She was very concerned. She went over to the house, knocked on the door, and there was no answer. She tried opening the door, but it was locked. She tried looking in the windows, but they were covered. So
this isn't good.
Yeah, but Mary, being that good, nosy neighbor, she just lets their chickens out for them, just trying to help out, and she decides to call J.B. Moore's brother, Ross Moore. So Ross is a pharmacist in town, and she got a hold of him, and she asked, if they were sick, no one was outside doing chores, is everything. She didn't think anything awful, of course. It's not the first thing that would come to your mind. No. She's like, maybe they were up late. They had the program last night.
Yeah,
so they're not feeling well. So she just asked if they were okay. Ross, not knowing anything, decided, where'd you go? Can you hear me? I can see you talking. I just can't see you, but I can't hear you, but I see your name. I'm going to stop recording. what the fuck just happened?
I'm scared.
We completely just shut down as if
It just went black. My whole computer turned off. Not just the screen went black.
That has never
it
happened.
Turned off.
What the hell?
No, it has not. And it just happened while we're talking about creepy stuff and
that's interesting.
We're talking about Beetlejuice and
I mentioned Z.
So you mentioned ZZ and I heard that one.
So that's a little scary.
And then when it turned back on for a really long time.
So strange. Okay, well, I'm going to back up a little bit because I don't know where this cut out. So let's see. So Mary, just like a nosy neighbor, was concerned that the family didn't come out to do their chores. She knocked on the door, no answer. She tried opening the door. It was locked. She looked in the windows, but they were covered.
Mm-hmm.
So she let the chickens out. Just like how Iowan of you. It's like, oh,
such a nice neighbor.
Or else the chickens were just like really annoying her. And she's like, God damn it, I'll just let the fucking chickens out myself.
I think she was probably just a nice, good old Iowa lady.
Nice Iowan. So she let the chickens out and then she called J.B. Moore's brother, Ross Moore. She rings him up on the old timey phone. I'm just picturing like one of those hello,
operator.
Connect me to 412. He was a pharmacist in town. So she called and asked if like they were sick or, if something had happened or if they were out of town. She didn't understand why they weren't outside, like the normal hustle and bustle that would have been happening at the house at that time of day. So JB's brother, Ross, arrives at 8 a.m. and he knocks on the door. Again, no answer. He shouts in the house, no answer. But he does have a copy of the house key, which he uses to open the door. Which I didn't know, I thought 1900s small town Iowa, who's even locking their doors?
Who's locking the doors?
Right? My parents didn't lock their doors in Iowa in 1997. What? I guess these people were concerned.
Did locks even exist? Maybe at the implement store.
Right. Yeah. So he lets himself in. He tells Mary to stay on the porch. And he opens the front door, which goes into the parlor. And he walks around downstairs. In the first room, he notices that something's wrong is that back sewing room where Ina and Lena were sleeping. He noticed their bodies on the bed. He calls for Mary immediately to call Henry, also known Hank Henry, because, Hank's I don't know why Hank's a short name for Henry.
It's like, why is Chuck short for Charles?
Right. Okay. Well, he told her to call Hank Horton, the primary peace officer in Villisca. So Henry Hank arrives around 8:30 a.m. So he's like the town sheriff. He's like the law enforcement, the one person in town, right?
Right.
Arrives at 8:30 and he goes in and walks to the house and he tells JB's brother Ross that, quote, someone was murdered in every bed. Oh. I mean, can you imagine this is your family and that's what you hear?
And you don't even know if it means everyone or are there any survivors?
Is everyone there? Is there someone who's at home or
right? Oh,
so and here's the part that gets me: the townsfolk, the nosy townsfolk of Villisca. By 8:45, the town's central telephone center issued what they call a all-call alert, which advising every household in town of the murder. So I'm thinking it's an old-timey phone tree.
It must be.
Yeah, there's a murder in town. And everyone's
let your neighbor know.
Cool, let's go check it out. Because that's what happened.
Well, what else are you going to do?
I know,
you have
besides Sunday
mingle at the church.
You have the Sunday program at the church, or you have looky-looing at a murder. Within minutes, the home had become a spectacle. And it's funny because I wrote, what else did they have to do in 1912? Exactly your point. Upwards of 100 people stampeded through the home, through each of the rooms.
With the bodies still in them?
Looking.
How did I not know this part?
Yes, looking at each of the deceased.
Why did this cop guy let them in?
That's funny because I said, Hank even let people handle the murder weapon. And I put bad Hank.
Bad Hank.
And the murder weapon, like someone's like, oh, this is how it happened. Let me just touch it and swing it and move it. And
not that they had DNA or anything back then, but still.
Fingerprints were still new. But I mean, come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, so bad Hank. Let people just go everywhere.
What's wrong with this guy? That's like police work 101.
Yeah, but I understand that. But like 1912, you think you'd have a little bit of like knowledge about it. But I mean, then again, It's a small town. Nothing probably ever happened in this town. Like he probably has never had a murder happen in this town. If you think about it.
But still, I mean,
common sense,
and it seems disrespectful.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, I'm sure
1000%.
It's a religious town too. You think there'd be some kind of like, don't mess with the bodies, kind of, even if it's on a religious level, not just curiosity.
And speaking of don't mess with the bodies, Brooke, you're not going to like this next thing. Supposedly,
there's an animal.
No animals. But supposedly, townspeople took pieces of JB's skull as souvenirs before being ushered out.
What is wrong with this town?
Well, I don't know. Like, what would compel you?
Villisca, or it is Villisca. The evil one.
Yeah.
The evil one that started with a W, right?
Villisca?
Villisca. Wasn't that the other name?
Yes.
That meant evil? All
right. But there is at least one person in town. That was the coroner, Dr. Lindquist, was of sound mind. He got there about 9. So I'd say about 15 minutes after the looky-loos started going through the house. He was pissed. He was pissed about all the people, and he told the sheriff to get the National Guard in place to secure the house. So it took the National Guard to come and kick 100 people out of this house. And it wasn't until 9:30 a.m. that they had the perimeter secure around the home.
This is disturbing.
An hour and a half. You think you'd
since they were... Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Where did they come from? Though.
All over. I mean, there was 2,000 people in the town. I'm sure like everyone's just like, I got to close up shop. I got to go check out the house. Like I have to go.
No. I mean, where did the
National Guard?
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Came in?
Yeah. I don't know.
Where did they come from?
I don't know. Next town over.
Okay.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it worked in 1910. Don't know how it works today.
Same.
So, now here's one person that they kicked out, but I believe should have not been kicked out. This is a local druggist and a hobby photographer that wanted to enter to take photos of the scene. But
that is ahead of their time, right?
He was dismissed.
Documenting.
No, he said he could not come in the house. And I was like, that's the one person. That's the one person you should probably have let in so he could take photos of the scene of the crime.
But they probably didn't even think about that. I don't know what crime was like back then, actually.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know if they even thought about taking pictures at crime scenes and think of the cameras at the time,
too. It probably took like 10 minutes to set up the camera. And you had to get behind the little cloth. and
the curtain.
Poof it.
Poof it.
They said it was too ghoulish for him. But some say he may have had an economic motive. Most drugstores sold postcards of crime scenes at the time. So,
what?
I don't know. I didn't find that at the Walgreens when I went today.
That's weird.
If I did, I might actually purchase it, but maybe
I'd be
not.
like, I'm gonna take this decapitation and send that to my aunt
in Des Moines. Yeah,
in Des Moines.
People, it's called Des Moines. God. But yeah. Yeah, so nonetheless, there are no photos of the actual crime scene because of this. So I just want to go through the 8 victims here just to give you names and ages. So we have the Moore family. We had Josiah JB. He was 43. Sarah was 39 at the time. Herman was 11. Mary Catherine was 10. Arthur was 7. Paul was 5. And the Stillinger sisters, Lena was 12. And Eno was 8. 8 people. But I mean, that's so many babies. I mean, kids from 5 to 12, you know, like... Those are
young kids.
Yeah, those are young kids. Those are just babies that had their whole lives ahead of them. But before we get to the suspects, which will be part 2, we will talk about the crime scene. So here's what the detectives of the time have pieced together. So there's like an inquest, right? Which is like the old-timey word for investigation.
Sure.
So here's what they pieced together. The murders happened somewhere between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m., most likely the hour of 2 a.m., which I don't know how they get that, but sure, it's in the middle, I guess.
They're like, we'll just split the difference.
It's like, it's the bad hour. Like, nothing good happens after midnight, and definitely nothing good happens at 2 a.m.
Oh, I don't know. There have been some fun times out there.
I think every time I've stayed up till 2 a.m. recently, I've ended up like not feeling great.
Recently, no thanks. But back in the day, there have been some fun times.
All right. So we have the killer or killers may have been watching the family from the barn. There was an indentation in the hay near a knot, like a hole where like a knot was in the barn wood of the side of the barn. So that someone could peer out. So there was speculation if someone had been there, they could possibly have been watching for a day or so.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Why didn't they let the chickens out?
Right? I mean, before you leave, can you at least let the chickens out?
Just,
Poor Mary. She had to do it. There was 2 smoked cigarettes in the attic, which they thought
I remember that part of
perhaps
the story,
like that was where they were like laying in wait for them to come home and waiting for everyone to go to bed. Some people say that it was 2 people because there was 2 cigarettes, but honestly, like someone could smoke 2 cigarettes. So
speaking of which, Mindy, now I'm still freaking myself out because I found a cigarette butt on my front porch and I don't smoke.
Weird.
And it was like right by my front door.
When
so it
was
wasn't
this?
Like it blew the other day.
Oh.
Like
That's
it's not like it blew
no, that's
up,
not a good
off
sign.
the
That's
sidewalk or
that's
something. And
great.
I'm like, no.
someone
I'm like getting like really sick.
Is someone watching from your porch? I don't like it. I don't like it, bro.
You don't like it.
Is your door locked right now?
It's locked.
Okay. Is it double locked?
I've got the deadbolt on.
Okay,
yes.
good. Okay. All right. I mean, it doesn't help if they're in your home already, but I'm just saying.
Mindy, why would you say that?
It's not happening. I'm home by myself too tonight. So, okay. Mark's on his way home though, so all good. Okay.
Yeah, great. Thanks. That doesn't help
the
me.
Haddonfield would scratch up anyone's face in like 10 seconds.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine.
He would be hiding. He
would. Okay. So, to 2 cigarettes, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The murders were believed to have began in the primary bedroom. Of course, I listen to a lot of true crime, and one of my favorite investigators is Paul Holes, and he is on the podcast Barry Bones. But he's like one of the guys who caught the Golden State Killer. He talks a lot about this, that the fact that when an assailant comes into a home, the first person they're going to try to take out is that who is the most challenging to
powerful.
them.
Yeah.
So you're, of course, kind of
powerful.
the first thing that they're going to go for is the dad of the family. And he was laying right next to his wife, Sarah. And it looked as though that when they bludgeoned JB, the killer used the sharp end of the axe for him, but everyone else in the home was the blunt side of the axe.
Weird. I don't remember this part of the story either.
So like it almost seemed like very intentional on that attack towards the father, or just to like incapacitate him to do anything to like help his family.
But I mean, if he had hit him with the blunt side, it would have knocked him out right away too. Even
they said he had up to like 20 or 30 marks on him. He was struck so much that his eyes were missing.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, the eyes.
I still don't understand like how this wasn't heard.
I don't get this either. And I'll get into a theory about that in part 2, but he was struck so hard that the ceiling had gouge marks above where the bed was. That the axe, when the assailant had
lifted it,
it had left gouge marks in the ceiling above the bed.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
After killing JB and his wife, Sarah, the killer proceeded to the kids' bedroom across the hall, where he proceeded to kill the 4 more children, Mary Catherine, Harriman Paul, and Arthur. Again, with the blunt end of it, like that makes the story any better. It doesn't.
It doesn't, but it just adds another layer of like, why?
Why? Yeah. Then at some point, according to authorities, it seemed that he returned to the parents' room to do more damage because there was a report that there was one shoe that was like filled with blood that had like spilled over. So they think the timing wise, maybe, and just in my own thoughts, that someone was still surviving in that room and he had to go back and finish things off after killing the kids.
Jesus.
Lastly, the killer went down to the guest room where he killed the Stillinger sisters. No, it's believed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta believe then that he was watching because he knew to go into every, or they.
And then
or
the girls were
however
even
many
there.
were.
Like there was a sleepover that night. Like how else would you know that?
Yeah.
Because that seemed like something very impromptu that evening.
Yeah. It was just they just did the ring-a-ding-a-ding to the parents that day.
Yeah. So it believed that all of them were asleep during the attack. And here's, like you said, this is the part that doesn't make sense. There are theories that perhaps there was something laced in the milk or cookies before bed. If that did happen, that would have maybe incapacitated the family a bit, not being able to. But I've also had kids that have been pretty fucking asleep in the middle of the night where I could throw a party and they would not have heard it.
No,
like I don't see like Sarah sleeping through this. Like I think,
right.
I mean, they were laying in the same bed. Who's to say like a swing of that axe couldn't have got one then the other at the same time?
Yeah, that is believable.
One to the throat would have stopped any sort of screaming. Yeah. But kids, I mean, they can be fucking out. They can be pretty goddamn tired, especially if they had activities all day.
Yeah, that's true. They go to church, they go visit grandma and grandpa, and then they have a program too, yeah,
it's a lot.
Busy day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is so weird, Mindy. What? This news article just popped up on my screen.
Why are we what is it?
It just says, I don't know who this is, but it says Carly Gregg gets life in prison after conviction for murdering mom, then inviting friend over to see the body.
Oh, I heard about this. That's a weird story.
But that's weird because we're talking about
murders, family murders.
The people walking around looking at the bodies.
Okay.
We gotta finish because my computer is possessed and I'm scared.
Okay. And there's a cigarette butt on your porch. Okay, we're going. Okay.
Don't do it.
No, it's not there. It blew. It was a neighbor from next door that has a bad habit. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, I believe that all were asleep except for maybe Lena, who seemed to have fought back. She did have some defensive wounds on her arm. And then just a little trigger warning here for sexual assault, possible sexual assault. Her body was positioned in a way where her nightgown was pushed up beyond her waist. She had no undergarments on, and it was exposing her genitalia. At the time, they thought she had been assaulted, and then they kind of recanted and said, no, she wasn't assaulted. But if there's anything I've learned, again, going back to Paul Holes, is the old-time way of looking at someone who was assaulted is, could see if like a hymen was broke or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
That's not to say that someone wasn't assaulted. You know what I mean? There's like that something could have happened on her body levels. Or, you know what I mean? Like there's something wasn't right with that. I feel like 100% that's my gut on that. And so when they say no sexual assault, I call it bullshit. But okay, so that's kind of like the scene. But let me get into the weird things of the scene. There's some strange things also.
Okay.
So there was a gas lamp, like a kerosene lamp, that was at the foot of JB and Sarah's bed. It was one of those old timey lamps, but like the chimney, kind of like that part that sits on top, kind of that glass part, was removed.
Yeah.
And it was turned all the way down, and the wick was very short to give it like just the smallest hint of light. So there was one found at the end of their bed. There was also another one found in the Stillinger sisters' room.
Maybe it's just like a nightlight.
Could have been. Yeah, but I don't know if people would have like wasted kerosene when they're sleeping back then.
Why? What is it for then?
They're thinking that the killer had brought it in to see
like
enough.
A flashlight.
Yeah. All the shades in the house were drawn except for the windows that didn't have shades, particularly by the door. And those windows had aprons or bedclothes from the family that were hung over it. So very specifically, the killer did not want to see anyone looking in the house while these crimes were being committed.
Wow.
So the killer had searched through the drawers to find these items to cover the windows, but also, strangely, all of the mirrors in the house were covered.
That's culty or occultist. Cool. I mean, like...
Now, at the time, it was interesting because it was a common practice during wakes and funerals to cover mirrors.
That's true. Yeah.
But still, like, it's just not giving me great vibes.
No.
Don't like it.
Ill intent was behind those
Not
curtains
great.
and those aprons
Yes.
being hung up.
The killer also had covered each of the victims' head in their bedclothes, so their faces were not exposed. In the sewing room where the Stillinger sisters were found was the murder weapon as well.
Why didn't they take it?
I don't get this part. This will come back when we talk about suspects. But the axe, the murder weapon, was found leaned up against the wall. It was contaminated again, of course, because
everybody touched it.
Let everyone handle the murder weapon.
Damn Hank!
But here's the weird thing. I don't know if you've heard this. There's also 4-pound slab of bacon next to it.
What? I thought I knew this story.
Yes.
No idea. Bacon?
Yes. So the murder weapon was wiped off, and there was a 4-pound slab of bacon. Not all the bacon, just 4 pounds of bacon next to the murder weapon.
Where was the rest of the bacon?
Was in the icebox still?
Cutting pieces of bacon off with the axe and having a little snack?
Raw bacon?
Raw bacon.
Ugh.
This guy or this person is not normal. Maybe
obviously
they eat raw bacon.
Well, he did.
With an axe.
So here's something else. In the kitchen, there was an uneaten plate of beans and bread next to a bloody, I heard bowl or pail, but a bloody bowl of water. Almost like the killer had washed their hands and intended to eat something.
Beans?
And raw bacon? I don't know.
Well, that sounds, raw bacon.
Beans and bacon get along great.
Beans and bacon
like
good.
It. So good.
He just didn't know how to cook. That's all.
I've never cooked bacon. It might wake someone up. I don't like that. That kind of just gives me a very feeling,
That's just weird, yeah.
And so, why did he not eat it though? Did he get spooked? Was the sun starting to come up? Did he hear the neighbor Mary come outdoor? Something that he didn't finish eating his meal. I don't know. It's just he just kind of left. I don't like that. And then there was one source that said there was a fragment of a keychain that did not belong to the Moores that was found downstairs as well. Then again, was it at the crime scene at the time? Was it a looky-loo had dropped a keychain? We don't know.
Yeah.
But whenever the killer did leave, he locked the door behind him and walked into the night sometime before Mary Peckham woke up at 5 a.m. to do her laundry. And that was it.
Wow.
And another interesting fact is, some people could be a burglary gone wrong. JB's wallet was still in the house. All the cash was still in the house. Nothing seemed to be missing, ruling out any motive of robbery.
Well, and I don't think a robbery gone wrong.
You're still going to take something.
Grab an axe.
Yeah.
And start.
And then you would go when they were at the church service. Why would you wait till they get home to rob the place? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
No. But there's no robbery.
But
you hear today robbery gone wrong and someone gets shot.
Sure.
That makes sense. But a robbery gone wrong, you don't kill 8 people with an axe.
No. No. So, okay. Wow. So the last section I have is called, I actually labeled it on my sheet here, Mindy's frustrations. Okay. Here's what I don't understand. The things that frustrate me. One is the crime scene contamination by Hank. Don't like you. That was not smart, Hank.
Unbelievable.
100 people walking through the house. Touching things.
Taking skulls. That's sick. That's Ed Gein shit.
Oh, yeah. You're going to make a nipple belt out of this? I don't like it.
Yeah, what the hell?
Like the fact that the photographer was not allowed in, photos would have been great. Not to sell at the drugstore, not to sell at Walgreens, but it would have been helpful probably in the investigation of what was there and what wasn't. I don't like the fact there's no motive in this at all.
Yeah.
Kills me. Why? Why kill a whole family, a beautiful family, and 2 little girls?
A happy,
they seem so much in love.
Yeah, it just seemed like they just had it together. Again, you never know what's happening behind the scenes, but just seemed like the picturesque life.
I know. Kills me. And then I did say, the other thing I brought up was everyone's sleeping through it, which is the cookies and milk theory. Had they been poisoned? Yeah. I don't know.
But I don't believe that either, because the parents wouldn't they have known, like, where did these cookies come from? You know,
Right.
like,
yeah.
where
Agreed.
did this milk come
And
from?
who was to say, like, they
well,
could
I'll
guarantee
have some.
everyone would drink the milk.
Yeah.
But there was no tox screen at the time. So, like, they
No.
could have they been chloroformed or something along those lines back then? We don't know
Yeah.
because we couldn't do tox screen. And the fact that there were no fingerprints left on the scene, was the killer wearing gloves? Was it just this contaminated? I know he washed off the axe.
How are there no fingerprints after all of those people through the house?
Well, I'm sure there were fingerprints. And see, like, it was still very new. Like, the idea of fingerprint analysis, like, was kind of developed in England, and it was still very rudimentary, but at least you'd think that they would, I don't know, but it's a small town. Then again, small town cops, small town things.
That information hasn't gotten
Leaked
there yet.
Yeah. So, but just to finish up part one, a few days later on June 12th was the funeral service for the families. That was held in the town square with thousands in attendance. And they say the funeral cortege was 50 carriages long. So everyone came out to pay their respects to those 8 victims.
Oh, this is so sad. But great job, Mindy. I can't wait for part 2.
Part 2, yes, coming up next time. We're going to get into the suspects, and there's quite a few of them. I have my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
I'm ready. We're also going to get into how the house is still one that you can go visit, you can stay in, and
which we've talked about doing.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah. So stay tuned for part 2, Bestie. Sorry about your nightmares tonight.
And mine too.
Yes. Well, Bestie and besties.
What? Hello.
We just came back from an amazing weekend.
I don't think amazing is strong enough. I don't know if there is a word strong enough.
Shocking, incredible.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit of terror in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. You're hitting all the nails on the head here.
We just got back from the Iowa Podcasts Awards, and Bestie, if you haven't heard, REMelations has won the best comedy podcast.
Yay!
And not just like, here's the thing that blows my mind. And we talked, you and I, obviously, we had our sleepover that night and the night before. But like, the thing that, again, blows my mind is the fact that, you know, they had 23 judges from all over the world listen to seven that were nominated. So to make it a nomination was even incredible. But then had these judges listen to 7 podcasts that are all equally, I believe, hilarious. And they picked us.
Like big winners from previous years.
Yes.
Like, in our category.
Yeah.
And we won.
Like,
I'm still sitting here and I
going,
can't
what?
process it.
What?
Like,
how is this possible?
It still doesn't feel real, but it is.
I mean, like I told you. Okay, so let's back up a little bit here. So I shot a wedding on Saturday. I got done at like 10 o'clock. I had to drive to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which is, at what time did I get in? Like almost 2 a.m.? Like, I don't know.
I was sleeping.
I was running on fumes and adrenaline and Red Bull. And I get in and the lights are still all on. You're like asleep, half on the bed, half not. I don't know what was going on over there.
I think I was like waiting for you.
You were.
I probably just like,
and then I felt bad because I was like trying to be quiet, but you were still wanted to be chatty. And
of course.
And we just like kind of like giggled, like, you know, trying to go to sleep, but still excited and about the next day.
Nervous because we had the live show in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
And the award show wasn't till the evening. So it was a whole day for us. Yeah. It was a whole day of stuff.
So we woke up and we packed up our stuff because we moved hotels. And the morning of the awards ceremony and the whole day, I said, I think I said, we are beautiful. We are funny. I don't remember what the third one was, but I was just trying to manifest our day.
Yeah. Well, it worked, Mindy. Whatever that third thing was that you said.
And we're going
to win.
I think that's probably what I said, yes.
It worked.
Yes.
Magic Mindy.
Were you nervous about the live show? Because I know we had family. So your dad came, my parents came, my sister.
We have done a few live shows, and it is always a little nervous because you can't edit it,
Right.
like
It's just how we are.
if you're like flubbing your words, it's like you get frazzled. But yeah, I don't know. I was nervous because my dad was there. It's like you
want
to make them proud. You want to do good, But it was like as soon as it started, it was like it just felt right.
Right. I agree.
And then it was like over, like so fast.
And we had a decent amount of people there.
So many people there. Yeah, it was great.
It was great. And when to hear people laughing live is just so crazy because we laugh together when we do this, but to say something that I don't know, just to me is like a quick whip, and then all of a sudden it gets a laugh. You're like, oh, am I funny? Like people think I'm funny. I don't know. Yeah. It's a little surreal.
It's a surreal. Yeah, it's a surreal feeling. It's a surreal experience because Mindy and I just do this because we have fun with it, and we like to hear from you guys out there. And it's like never really expected like a crowd to cheer for us. Jumping forward a little bit, they were clapping and cheering for us when our name was called, and it's cloudy from there, Mindy. It's cloudy. And
we did do the whole morning, the whole part of the day in our PJs, of course, as is our signature. Course. We both wore pajamas. So I think we
were making a name for ourselves by walking around because there was all different workshops and other live shows, and we wore our pajamas to everything.
Yeah. So we're trying to supporting the other podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. And we met some amazing podcasters, which I'm going to link in the show notes because not only are they cool, really cool people, sweet, kind people, but they do have fantastic podcasts that you need to check out. But, some of them were doing podcasts on supernatural, and there was these guys that had a fun podcast about bullshit. And then there was the girls who had fun podcasts about, just life and as women. And I think the coolest thing was just kind of meeting people and connecting with other podcasters.
It was super fun because it was a community that was completely supportive.
Yes.
It wasn't like everyone was kind of congratulating.
Yeah,
everyone was happy for everyone.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if our mood maybe would have changed if we hadn't won, but
no, I don't think so.
Just everyone was just this is what gets me. An award that happened after ours, the guy that won it, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to remember his name. He mentioned us in his acceptance speech.
Yes.
He was like, I think I'd like to listen to those REMelations girls up here all night or something like that. And I'm
why
like,
are you not seeing us in your? Yes, that's crazy.
I was like, it was, and people were coming up to us afterwards,
it was very sweet. Congratulations.
I don't want to come off like we're bragging in any means. We are humbled by this.
Yeah.
We are so incredibly humbled by this.
I think we kept looking at each other and saying what? People think we're funny? Like what?
Yeah, it was like
this isn't real.
Okay, we do this and we like doing funny, this, but
other people.
Is this real life?
So we get back to the hotel. We changed out of our pajamas. We're getting glammed up. We are going. Brooke's wearing red sequins. I've got a backless dress. We are looking fabulous to the nines. We're getting ready. We're cranking our That Thing You Do soundtrack because we're that cool. It's our song.
Yep.
And I looked to Brooke and I said, after we took your little nap, I look at you and I said, do you notice what's on the TV? And it was the red carpet for the Emmys. Which, by the way, Bestie, if you recall, when was it? Probably April of this year, I had a dream that, this is so crazy, that we won an award during the Oscars or some awards show.
Yeah.
And the fact that we actually won an award during the night of an actual award show. Okay, I can't get it all right in my brain, obviously, but there's something there that
Mindy's got something that picks up on correct details. Maybe not the whole picture, but
the night of the Emmys awards, and we won an award. It was like my dream was like a precog. I found it so weird. I walked in. I didn't want to walk in thinking we were a win because I 1,000% did not think we were. But I thought my dream was
in a million years. I was so excited,
weird
but did not think in a million years.
But I just thought my dream was telling me something. I had a feeling all day, but I was shocked. So yeah,
shocked.
The way they produced this award show, I felt like I was at the Oscars or the Emmys.
It was so professional. It was so well done. Like
a
kudos.
voiceover, like, and now up for Best Comedy Award.
Yeah, and like clips.
They had to like clip
like
each of the shows.
It was like any award show you would see.
I was so impressed.
I felt so fancy,
and I felt
so scared.
I was so scared because I'm like, wow, this is like a real thing.
This is legit,
actually happening,
right?
Yeah.
And then our name was called, and I just immediately jumped up. I don't even like.
I think we high-fived the podcast behind us because they were also nominated for comedy. We just wanted to give them some shout out.
I know that it sucks, but they were good sports about it. You know, everyone was good sports. People, like I said, were cheering, and
it's crazy.
We get up on stage, and all I know is I start talking. I have no idea what I said.
We kind of blacked
I started jumping up and down.
Probably
at one point.
I think
Mindy doesn't really remember what was
you
said.
You talked about us being like friends for many years.
Mm-hmm.
I thanked my husband and my kids, and then you said I don't have kids, and then I thanked your cats.
It was kind of, I think it had to have been a perfect speech for us.
But being Virgos, we planned something. We planned it.
It
just went out the goddamn window.
Nothing.
We didn't think it would actually happen.
I like even talking about it now, I couldn't think of one thing we had thought about saying.
No.
But that almost made it, I think, more real.
Yeah.
I think people then could see that we were literally shocked. We were literally so honored and so excited. So, thank you, Iowa Podcast Awards.
We got our pictures taken. It was like,
there was a step and repeat.
A step.
Or as Mindy called a step
and move on. Because there's only one
step and move on.
We do have, we should be getting the files for the live show. We should be getting the acceptance speech. We'll post it all online as soon as we get it. Because I'd like to see it again myself because like I said, I blacked out.
I'm nervous to see it, but I definitely have to watch.
All I know is I remember us hugging a lot. That's it.
And then I didn't want to fall.
No, I know. I wanted to make sure
my dress was so long on me because I didn't have time.
That would have been embarrassing. That would have been embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I'm just so fucking excited.
Yeah, no, I'm still like in shock. We decided to take joint custody of the baby. Brooke's got the baby for a few weeks. I will take custody again in a few weeks. It's on your parents' mantle, I saw.
It is. My mom was like, it needs to go on the mantle. I'm like, there it is.
Love it.
And it's a cool looking award.
It's a cool award. We actually have.
It's everything about the show was just real.
Yeah. We got this.
Real.
As Mark said in the morning, he's like, today, the Iowa Podcast Awards. Tomorrow, the tri-state area.
Oh, nice. Nice.
We're taking it on. We're taking it on. We're going to grow eventually.
I'm taking it all on.
Taking it all on. So we just need another award so we each get one and we can, share. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
That'd be good.
But no, I'm so happy to do this with you.
So happy.
As always, I love it. I do this as my weekly therapy, and I'm just glad you besties can be along for the ride. We love it.
And thank you.
Yes.
And thank you.
We did thank our besties. I do remember we thanked our besties.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was,
I think.
I was just rambling. Because Mindy was like, you have to talk. And I'm like, well,
I did.
What? I was like, what?
But then when you froze up and started crying, which didn't stop for a half an hour, I had to continue on. I think you cried for like a half an hour as the rest of the words were going on.
I'm sorry. It was, like I said, I was so humbled by this. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
and we got back to the hotel. We had a late night sleepover. We giggled. It was the best. It was the best.
It was. It was the best. It was one of the best nights of my life.
Agree.
And it's all because of you.
I agree. Love you.
Love you.
All right, Bestie. On that high note, let's wrap up this episode.
Yes. Okay, Bestie. Until next week, don't black out during your acceptance speech.
No, it's not good. It's not good.
And
sweet dreams, bitches.